penultimate week of the Cleveland Marathon prep, week number 9. And this week is all about just cruising and maintaining. So all the real hard training for the marathon is done, I would say. And right now, basically just maintaining the mileage and the training and time on legs and maintaining the fitness. And then next week we will taper down a little bit and take the training load off the body, and then hopefully have a great performance at the marathon.
When I finished my Appalachian Trail thru hike last September, my cardiovascular fitness was pretty crappy and my legs were sore and tired for close to 2 months. But by the end of 2024, I was back to consistent training, running 20 to 40 miles most weeks, and I successfully completed my 23-mile birthday run in December. The first third of 2025 so far has been all about consistency and routine for me. As I started a new job in February, I got into a routine of strength training in the morning and running in the afternoons, and then adding in some long runs of increasing mileage on the weekends. I definitely feel fitter now. My easy run pace, or just standard run, is below 10 minutes now, which it definitely was not before. And I've seen a consistent decrease in my resting heart rate as well, which is a great indicator of physical fitness. So physically, I'm feeling ready for the marathon. I will admit though, I do have a bit of a mental barrier in my head in terms of building up the marathon to be this big thing. And a big part of that, I think, is probably just my failure and many mistakes I've made at the marathon distance in the past. Pretty much any time I've run 20 plus miles, the last 5 miles or so are pretty sucky. So I know the end of the marathon is gonna suck as well. So in some sense, I'm just not super excited about, going through that. But at the same time, I do know that the reward of, pushing through that and actually completing the marathon is definitely going to be worth it.
Biking to work today and took a new route. And to my surprise, we got a brick road. Not the yellow brick road, but the red brick road, unfortunately.
And in terms of my training, there's a ton of things I could have done better and differently in my training. And I talked about some of that in last week's video, so definitely check that out for more details. But I would say in general, the consistency and build up of the long runs are things I'm pretty happy with, as well as just improving my fueling during the long runs. Even though it's not perfect or completely dialed in, it's much better than where it was at 2 months ago. So that's something I'm happy with too.
Back on the red brick road for the ride home, and I'm actually enjoying the biking. It's just like a good change of pace, and hopefully if the sun comes out one of these mornings, I'll be able to get some sunlight in my eyes like Dr. Huberman suggests. But I'm gonna get home, probably rest up for just a few minutes, and then head out for my afternoon run. Really bumpy section right here.
In terms of goals, our primary goal is just to finish the marathon and check that box. But we do have a secondary goal, which I think will be more of a challenge, which is to finish in under 5 hours, and that's an average pace of 11 minutes, 28 seconds per mile. I'll talk more in next week's video about the specific plans for race day, and that will be the last video in the Cleveland Marathon prep series before the actual marathon. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on those 2 exciting videos.
Windy day today. I really like coming out on these rocks that stick out into the lake. Just makes you feel exposed and vulnerable, like you're almost on the lake. So it's pretty cool. Just over a week out now to the marathon, today is what, the 8th, marathon is the 18th, so 10 days away. Just continuing to keep the fitness up, and then next week we'll pull back to training a little bit throughout the week.
The penultimate week of the Cleveland Marathon prep was a solid week of training, pulled back the volume to right around 5 hours, and yesterday on Saturday we did a 5-mile training run kind of at mock race pace. And so even though it wasn't super far, we didn't really need much hydration or anything. I wore the vest with pretty much the same amount of water and food and everything I'm going to carry during the race, just to get a feel for the pace of the race, and that pace with that little additional load, which isn't a ton, but it's a little bit different than running, with nothing like I normally do on a day-to-day basis. So we did that workout. It went well, and total stats for week number 9 are right here. Mileage just under 30 miles, 29.78 miles. Time 5 hours 1 minute. Average pace 10 minutes 7 seconds per mile, and total elevation gain 1,085 feet. So felt solid. Like I said, pulled back the volume to just that 5-hour threshold, and strength training was just on par with the typical strength training routine. 2 hours 35 minutes there. Next week I'm probably only going to do 10, maybe 15 miles of running before the marathon, and most of that is going to be in the first few days of the week. And then in terms of strength training, I'm going to keep doing the same amount of strength training, but probably focus most of my exercises on the upper half of the body, and probably not do any exercises on the lower body. Anything I do will probably be less super strength and difficult related, and more just kind of flexibility or balance type exercises, so nothing too crazy there. I'm looking forward to the next video. I'm going to talk about my taper and kind of what that training has looked like, and then just how I'm feeling the final few days going into the marathon. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that video. If you have stuck around this far, I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next one.